Today we are making relief print Christmas cards. For this project, you're going to need some white pieces of paper, a pencil, something to pour your paints onto like these wax paper sheets, your styrofoam, your tempera paints, your cardstock cards, and your foam roller or brayer. The first thing we're going to do is fold one of the white pieces of paper into 4 sections so that we can sketch out some ideas to make on our styrofoam prints. So I'm just folding it in half in one direction and then folding it in half again in the other direction. So when you open it up, it will have 4 different sections that you can use to sketch out some ideas. So you can follow along with my sketches, or you can also think of some ideas on your own. Just remember that it will print in reverse, so don't include any words. The first one I'm going to do is a simple Christmas tree. So we're just going to make a kind of triangular-ish shaped tree with some zigzag sides to look like a basic Christmas tree, and a little stump at the bottom. And then I'm going to put some spirally garlands on, just zigzagging back and forth along my Christmas tree. Next, I'm going to add a star at the top, and maybe it needs some ornaments on the side. And these are just simple basic shapes, and some more circle ornaments filled in the center of the tree. We don't want these sketches to be too complicated because we want to keep the styrofoam prints pretty simple so that you can see the design easily. This next one is going to be a present, so I'm just drawing a square and then a bow on the top and the ribbon hanging down, and then some lines to describe the ribbon wrapping around the present. For the next one, let's do some snowflakes. So snowflakes are going to have 6 sides, so I'm going to make an X and then an extra line through the middle, and then you can decorate your snowflakes how you wish. I'm going to put a few more 6-sided snowflakes around the biggest one. X and cross the middle. And then I'm going to just add some designs on each of my spikes. And the snowflakes are pretty symmetrical, so each side should be pretty much the same as the last one. Add some more lines in the middle with these little kind of teardrop shapes on the ends. And then maybe they need some extra V-shaped spikes below the teardrops. That one looks pretty good. So we'll add some more details on the next ones. Maybe this one can also use some V spikes on the ends. And maybe fill in the center a little bit more too. For the next one, maybe we'll put a little triangular spike at the tips. Again, you can think of your own designs. You don't have to follow along exactly. This one will have some kind of flower shapes in the middle, and maybe little dots too. For this last one, I think I'll do some more dots on the ends. And some more V shapes with dots on the ends this time. And filling in the middle with more crossed lines and dots. For this last one, I'm going to turn the paper the other way and make a horizontal design of ornaments. I'm going to make a big long one in the middle. And then maybe an onion-shaped one on the side. And a circle one over here. And then I'm going to fill in some bows, hanging them up, and designs in the center. This one maybe has some zigzags. And you can think of your own designs. This one will have some kind of swirly stripes. And this one will maybe have some leaf shapes. And a vine in the middle. And maybe add some berries also to make it kind of Christmassy. Now that you've sketched out some ideas, you can choose 2 that you'd like to redraw onto your styrofoam to make your prints. When you draw on your styrofoam, you don't want to press too hard and cut all the way through, but you do want to press firmly enough that it's going to make an indentation in the styrofoam. I like to use a dull pencil so that it's not too sharp and will cut the styrofoam. So if you notice, my pencil has quite a dull tip. The first one I'm going to do is this Ornament Design, and it's not going to look exactly the same, but that's okay. So again, I made my center long ornament, and then this kind of onion-shaped one on the side, which didn't turn out exactly symmetrical, but it's okay. And then a circle one over here. Just kind of following my design that I drew on my paper and copying it onto my styrofoam. And I'm pressing pretty firmly so that it will make my dents in my styrofoam. But again, I don't want to press so hard that it cuts all the way through and makes a hole in the styrofoam. We're just following our sketch. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, just kind of the same idea. So you'll know how everything fits together. Okay, so we'll put some finishing touches. I forgot the strings that are hanging down, and I'm going to remember them in just a minute. But if you're also doing ornaments, you can add the strings that are tying them up. Next, we're going to roll out our paint, so just make sure your surface is protected. Mine is already waterproof, so I'm just using the wax paper directly on the surface, but you can put your wax paper onto a paper plate or cover your surface with paper or a plastic bag. So I've laid out 2 pieces of wax paper, and I have the styrofoam that I drew my design on and a card, and I'm going to choose one color to begin with. So I'm using pink. And I'm just going to squeeze out a generous amount directly onto the wax paper and then put my jar aside. And I'm going to get my roller and just really roll it out until most of the surface of the roller is covered with paint. So I'm really rolling back and forth over my paint until most of the roller has been covered. And then I'm going to go over to my styrofoam and roll over. Oh, here I just remembered that I need to add the strings in. I'm going to go ahead and roll my paint over the design, making sure that every part of the surface is covered with paint. Because the brayer is foam, it's going to have a little bit of texture. So I'm just going and adding more paint. I think this might actually need some more paint from the jar. I'm just going to squeeze it out onto my paper. And roll over it again with the brayer or roller. And then go back and make sure that the paint is really covering every part of the styrofoam. If you touch the corners, the paint will come off a little bit, so just be careful while you're handling the sheet. Now you're going to want a clean surface to print onto your card. So pick up the styrofoam and carefully move the wax paper on the side while you bring your card forward. Try to center it as best you can. It might not be perfect, but that's okay. And don't move the styrofoam as you're pressing down. You really want to press firmly on all parts of your styrofoam sheet to make sure that it transfers well. And while you're doing this, try your best not to move the styrofoam around so that it makes a clean print. When you're done, you can pull it off, and there's your design. If you notice, it turned out a mirror image of what you drew. So for the next card, I want to do 2 colors. So since pink is already on my sheet, I'm going to add orange, which is a pretty close color, one that's analogous or next door on the color wheel. And then I'm going to roll it out on only half of my brayer so that half stays pink and the other half gets orange on it. I'm going to add a little bit more pink paint because I think we used most of it up on the last card. And again, I'm going to try to keep this pink on only one half of my brayer. So it kind of makes a bit of a gradient in the middle with pink on one side and orange on the other, and kind of mixes in the middle. So I'm going to use my other wax paper sheet to roll it out. Making sure the paint covers all parts of my styrofoam. And then placing it carefully onto the center of my card, centering it as best as I can. And then press down firmly without moving the styrofoam sheet as you do this. If you move the styrofoam around, it's going to create a blurry print. And carefully peel it off. Ta-da! There's your 2-tone design. You can go ahead and make some more cards with the same design and the same colors, or if you want to try a new design and new colors, you can do that too. For my second design, I chose the Christmas tree and decided to make it blue. So this one is going to be a blue print. And then for my second color, I decided to use green because I thought it would be a pretty color that goes well together. You can send these as Christmas cards or as thank you cards to your family and your friends. Have fun!